الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. The topic is about Islamic education or knowledge that Allah has sent. There's information and knowledge that we have gained through our experiences, through our experiments, different things we have gained that knowledge. But then there's a knowledge that Allah sent. Now, when we look at the knowledge that Allah sent, this is known as Islamic knowledge. The rest is Islamic also. But when we say Islamic knowledge, utlubul ilm, that's in hadith, seek knowledge, which is knowledge of Islam, is knowledge that Allah has sent through prophets, through messengers, through messages, through books, any of these things. Allah sent that knowledge. Now, when you look at that knowledge, the subject of that knowledge is insan, is us. Allah didn't send knowledge about stars or about plant life or about animals, even though He mentions these things in the Quran and in Hadith. We have many things regarding these things, but that's not the subject. The subject is us. Allah sent knowledge to teach us about ourselves. So that is a subject. That's what we are learning. When we're reading Quran, what are we learning? We're learning about ourselves. When we are reading Hadith, what are we learning? We're learning about ourselves. This is the subject of Islamic knowledge. That's where we have come so far in this discussion. So when we look at ourselves, when we look at these ayat and all of these things, it's not about space, it's not about knowledge of science or chemistry or math, any of these things. The subject is us. So first we need to know about ourselves. And that's why a lot of times people, for example, they learn about all of these other things and they are experts in that. We have become experts probably, take it with a grain of salt, that experts in science, experts in chemistry, expert in space exploration, and whatever it is. But the one place that we lack is knowing about our own self. Who are we? What am I? How do I deal with myself? How do I deal with each other? See, these are things that are really, until now, we are so much in doubts. Those who haven't taken revelation, those who haven't taken Islamic knowledge, you see, have so much doubts about this. So the first thing we learn about ourselves, let's take a look at ourselves now. What makes us us? What makes a human being a human being? What is it about us that is important? Who are we, first of all? So at least know who we are, what we are about. Then we'll see how Allah sent this knowledge for us. Let's send the salawats. So when we define things or definitions, definitions is based on the thing that separates us from everything else. For example, anything you want to define. You want to find out that thing that in its essence can separate it, meaning divide it from everything else. for example, like definition of frog. You know, okay, frog is, uh, you know, amphibious creature, but then what? What makes it different than the other amphibians like snakes and lizards and all that? In its essence, not like a, some sort of a trait it has, but in its essence, in its reality, what makes it different? Right? That's what you mentioned. It's called fossil. Fossil is that which divides, that makes it distinction. Now, this and finding this distinction is why definitions are so hard. Defining things are very, very hard. It's very hard to define things. That's why when you look at Webster's dictionary or all of these dictionaries, they're so disgusting in their definitions. They're just like examples. Oh, this is that. It's not a definition. What's a definition? Why? Because you can't, it's very hard to define. That's why, for example, Allah says that Allah has sent the Quran to define things, to give definitions, because we, through all the experiments we do, cannot find the actual definition of something. You know, it's just what? An example. An example is not a definition, or a description is not a definition. Right? There's not a definition, you know. And so what happened, defining things is hard. So human beings, when we come to human beings, what makes us us? Meaning, okay, so we are animals. So obviously we're not dogs, we're not pigs, we're not birds or this and that. So what makes us in the animal world, which is the closest to us in category, what makes us different than all of them? So these are certain things that they have given. Right? For example, they say what makes us different than others is intellect. You know, if you look at logic, logic says, okay, man is an animal that has intellect, or reasoning, complex reasoning, so forth. It goes forward, right, like that. And, for example, when you look at Revelation, it also adds free will and choice. You are an animal that has free will and choice. Okay, let's look at that. Now, on one hand, you have aql and knowledge. The other hand, you have free will. Now, both of these are mutually necessary for each other. They are mutually necessary for each other. Meaning that if you don't have knowledge, choice doesn't exist. In order for choice to exist, you need to have awareness and knowledge. For example, if I offer you two things, you know, a hakarl or a suicide, and say, which one do you like? Or which one do you want? Now, you have no clue about either of them. So don't worry about them. They are the national dishes of their countries. You know? Greenland and Iceland. and if you get to know them, you won't like them also. One is made from shark, the other is made from seal. No. You think Arabic word? No. So you see what I mean? When you have no knowledge, do you have a choice? Choice doesn't exist when you don't have knowledge. So knowledge is necessary for choice. Aql is necessary for choice. Otherwise, choice doesn't make sense. So first, let's understand these little things, that we are learning. What are these things that we are talking about? And then apply it to us and where we stand. So, yes, it's true. We are people who have aql. For example, that's what separates us from Neanderthals. Aql is that which helps us to choose the best. And because of that, we are able to build on our experience. We're able to build on our experience, choose the best, then, from there we go higher, higher, higher right away. This is aql. Aql makes us do that. Intellect, right? It makes us do that. That's why we are different from Neanderthals. Those bones that look like human beings that, anthropologists love to say which are our ancestors, but they're not, because this is a different creation than that. And, if they had aql, they wouldn't be living here millions of years without building a house. It doesn't take 1,000,000 years to build a house, or to know how to take care of ourselves, or to come to a society where not only do we have clothes, we have brand name clothes. This is something, what happens here, this is intellect. It just makes us grow on top of each other, which other animals didn't have. Even those animals that look like human beings, that look like Homo sapiens, okay, they look like us, they have, everything like us, but they didn't have intellect. That's why they're living for, I don't know how many millions of years, and they still didn't know what is dessert and what is a main entree, The reason is because they had no intellect. They were just like dogs, if you leave dogs alone for millions of years, yes, there'll be a lot of them because they'll be breeding, but you know what? They'll still be eating the same way. They will not create a society. They will not create a civilization. So the idea that we as human beings are different. So what is that difference? Intellect. One is intellect. And because of intellect, we have free will and choice. Because without free will, having intellect is useless. Okay, you have this intellect, you have this power to decide between, what's the best for you, but you have no choice. So what's the use of that? I can't even use it then. So you understand that. So intellect needs aql, and aql needs, intellect needs free will, and free will needs intellect. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's start. Now, the subject we need to decide right now, right, is free will. Let's look at this. What is this choice that we have? What is the benefit of this choice? What are we choosing? See, all of this discussion is done in philosophy and all these things, right? But the main discussion that everyone fails to ask is, okay, what's the use of having a choice? What is this choice for? What are we choosing? What are we choosing here? See, this is more important for us to know. As a human being, I want to know, okay, this is what makes me different. Okay, then what am I choosing? So you're at an intersection and you have to go right or left, so you have a choice. So the first thing to know about choice is that, is it relevant? Is the choice relevant? Is it important for you to choose? Or it doesn't matter? For example, I'm choosing between like apple and an orange. Right? Is that a real choice for me? Does it matter? Does it matter for me to choose either? Give me either one. See, if your choice is not relevant, meaning either of the side is not relevant for you, it's like picking bingo numbers. I want to go with 7, Okay. What's the important? I don't know. There's no relevance to it. You can just choose any number. Any number. For example, you go and inshallah you don't, but play the lotto, and you're choosing numbers. Is it important for you to choose numbers? Tell me. It's not, right? It's irrelevant for you to choose the numbers. So what happens is that a lot of times, choice that is irrelevant is not a choice. It's just randomly picking something. Right? That's number one. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so this decision, first of all, that we need to make, number one point in this discussion is that it must be relevant for us. It must be relevant. Second thing that's important in this is that there's no room for experiments on human beings. We don't, we are too important to be experimented on. You see, for example, a lot of times over here, you see that a lot in science, they're looking for someone to experiment on, right? You know, we need some people that we can experiment on their bodies or this and that. In Islam, in the view of Islam, human beings are too important to experiment on. Even if one person dies, it's too much. Even if one person is killed, it's too much. That's why the ayat of the Quran says that if you take one life, it's as if you have taken the life of everyone, of all of humanity. If you saved one life, it's as if you have saved all of humanity. Why? Because one life is precious. And there's no room for experiment here. That's what Allah is saying. What He's saying in this ayat is that you all are too important, too precious to be experimented on. That, okay, you know what, we are going to experiment on this group of human beings to see what is the meaning of life. It doesn't work like that. So second thing to understand is that we cannot have experiments. Allah needs to give this knowledge to us to make sure that even one person has the correct understanding of what's going to happen. So, let's start from here. Send the salawats. Now, my friends, here we come to this, that we have a choice. When is this choice a choice? What makes a choice a choice? Really look into that. You have choice right now. You have a freedom to choose. First of all, what are you choosing? And two, how did it come about? So now I'm going to give you some scenarios, right? I want you to see this, right? If someone doesn't know the choice that he's making, it's not a choice, right? We said that. For example, you have a person and you offer him two things. You say that, hey, listen, here's these two things for you, A and B. Choose one thing. He says, I don't know. How do I choose? Okay. Choose what is good for you. So he says, so choosing good is a good thing? Yeah, choosing good is a good thing. You can choose one thing that's good for you. He says, all right, just choose this one. Tell me, is this a real choice? This is retarded, right? You know, like, what is this? You know, come on. The idea is that it must be something important for you. Choice is only applied to places that is relevant and important for you. In your life, tell me, in your own life, what is the most important thing that you chose? Think about it. In all the choices you made, right? You made many choices in life. What is, and you don't need to mention it, but I want you to think of all the choices you made and prioritize them. Okay, that was the most important college I went to probably, field of education. You chose that. Okay, great. You made all these choices. Tell me, can you prioritize all the choices? Look at all the choices and see that. And you see that the most important choice you make. I made this choice to go ahead with this, whatever it is. So you see, when the choice becomes important, when the issue becomes important, the choice becomes real. The choice becomes real. And that choice has value. Now, what are we choosing as human beings? That we need free will and we need intellect for it. And how are we choosing that? Now I'll give you some scenarios, inshallah, and we decide. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, my friends, Let's say you have two things in front of you. You have A and you have B. If you like something, let's say you have knowledge of something and you like something, you're inclined to something and you desire something. Let's say, you like apple juice and you don't like orange juice. You like apple juice and you hated orange juice. As an example I'm giving. And so now, if I put these two in front of you to choose, what are you going to choose? Very good, apple juice. Now if I give that choice again, apple juice, because you already hate orange juice, and so you're not going to choose it. So if you are given two things, one of which you like and the other one that you don't like, then this is not a choice. This is not a choice. Choosing something that we like makes us an animal, not a human. It makes us an animal. Animals do that. Animals like something, they're inclined to something, and they go for it. If we also are doing the same thing, then we are also doing the same thing as animals. Friend, the choice, a human being becomes a human being when he chooses things that are opposing his desires. That's when a human starts to walk alone. The path of human being starts when he has to make a choice that goes against what he likes. Animals can't do that. Animals can't do that. They have to go with their inclination. They have to go with their desire. Humans can do that. I like this, but, it's better for me not to do it. See, that is where human beings start. The path of a human insan starts. It's here where the struggle starts. That's why it's called jihadun nafs. Jihadun nafs, or doing jihad with ourselves, is what? Not that I'm doing what I like, I'm doing what I don't like, or I'm staying away from what I like. This is where that struggle begins, and we start to become a human being. So the first choice we have, for example, is if one thing is I like, and the other thing I don't like. So if I have the choice, I'm just going to make this choice all the time. Now, what if both the things are bad for you? I don't know, here's two things for you: snake venom or rat poison. What? I mean, really, what do you a snake bite or a scorpion bite, I mean, you're like, do I have to choose? It's not important. Obviously, this is not a choice. You are not going to choose anything, right? Whatever you choose, for example, if both the things are you're irrelevant of, like apples and oranges, both of them are okay for you. Give me anything, right? It wouldn't be enough. So, now, let's look at all the things I've mentioned. I'm going to make this scenario easy for you, like a math formula, right? Okay, you have A and you have B. If both A and B are equal to you, it's not a choice. If A is more likable than B, it's not a choice. If B is more likable than A, it's not a choice. So then, where does choice exist? Think about it. Where does choice exist? Huh? Yeah, when you like both of them. No. When you like, if you have two things that both of them you like, now it's difficult to leave one of them. and choose the other. Why? See, the philosophy of pain, and now I'm going ahead of the issue, right? But I mentioned it, philosophy of pain starts here with choice. Because choice is about two things that you like, that when you choose one of them, you have the pain of separating from the other. That is where the philosophy of pain starts in human beings, with choice. Choice is the reason for pain in life. Ikhtiyar is the reason for why we have pain in life. Because we are choosing to let go of something we like. That is pain. But now we come back to our subject, right? How does Allah give us a choice then? How does Allah make this choice become real for us? See, this is where we need to stand. And that's what we'll understand. In order, we have choice. No one else does. No other creature does. So how does Allah make it happen? So in order for this choice to become real, Allah created a framework. This life, this system in this dunya, He made so that choice can become a reality. So what did He do? He created two things. He created two things. One that is good and the other that is great. Two things He did. He didn't create a bad thing and a good thing, because no one would go for the bad, right? Then it would cease to be a choice. He created something that's good and something that's great. He kept the thing that is good accessible to us. And He put that great thing concealed from us. So now we just have knowledge about the great, but we have access to the good. Then Allah says, can you choose the great over the good now? My friends, this whole infrastructure of this dunya is built so that choice can exist. If Allah had exposed Jahannam, would anyone do anything to go to Jahannam? No. Then we wouldn't have a choice. We would be forced to be good. If Allah had shown Jannat, would anyone stay there? Oh, okay, you know what? They stay away from Jannat? No. Then it would cease to be a choice. Our free will be finished. In order to make it a free will, Allah could not also had made this dunya disgusting. If He made this into a jail, then yes, I don't want this dunya, so I'm just spending time here to go. It's like a jail. You're serving time so you can get out of here. That's what jails are for. So we don't want that. It wouldn't be a choice then. So He made this life good. He said, this is good. I will give you blessings here. I will give you good things here. I'll give you family here. I'll give you belonging here. I'll give you an identification here and everything. So don't say that this dunya is bad. No, this dunya is good, but there's something great. But that great you haven't seen. Now the choice becomes real. Should I do this, or should I sacrifice this, let go of this for that great? See how choice taking place. He made this whole universe for us. This whole thing is made so that we can have choice here. And this is where choice exists. We are now choosing great over good, but great that I have never seen. But I heard in the Quran, I heard from the prophets, I heard from every holy person that came to earth, that stepped on earth, that listen, there's something great for us. And you're like, okay, What do I need to get there? You'll need to let go of this good that you have. Don't sacrifice that for this. That's where the choice is. And that's where the pain starts. It's not easy just to let go of dunya, brothers. It's not easy. Let go of this. Because something that's accessible to you, you feel it, you experience it. As a human being, now I'm like involved in it. Is it easy for me to let go? It's not easy to let go. Yes, if your life is miserable here, this and that, that's one thing, but Allah doesn't want you to have a miserable life here. Allah wants you to have a good life here. In fact, He says that from the hasanat of dunya, ask for hasanat in dunya. In hasanat of dunya is having, a big house. Hasanat of dunya is in having, your things that are, family and other things. Hasanat of dunya are these things. So He says, have these things and then sacrifice. If you have, for example, a wife that is a pain in the butt, of course, I'm waiting for my hurulin. I have sacrificed dunya. No, you didn't sacrifice anything. You're just running away from what you have. If your children, for example, are good for nothing children, inshallah, I'll wait for the ghilman there, and wait for those things over there. Come on. You're not sacrificing anything. First, have the dunya. That's the idea. Have the dunya, and then sacrifice that for something good. Yes, if your children are not worth it, you're not sacrificing anything. But when you have a child like Ali Akbar, it's different. See, that is different. To let go of that. This is where you see sacrifice has meaning, that akhirat has meaning, that choice has meaning. It's a greater choice. Make your dunya good. Yes.
Exactly right what you're saying. What I'm saying is that suppose you have a bad wife, but you deal with that bad wife in a good way and you do sabr, I think that's also part of it.
Of course, it is. That's the idea. Right? You don't want to leave that.
Right.
You want to keep that. If Rasulullah only had good wives, he wouldn't be an example for us, right? If he didn't have those wives that even Allah is saying that we should shut them up, obviously, like for example, he had bad wives and he dealt with it. And not in a bad way, in a good way. Yes, because what happened is that you're sacrificing, even if that's the case, you're sacrificing. See, letting go of this. Allah, I want that which is there. That's a choice. Why? Because I haven't seen that. I haven't noticed that. Now, in case of Rasulullah, you can say that, well, he went to Mi'raj and he saw everything, right? But even him seeing it doesn't make a difference for him. He was the same before and after Mi'raj. Yes, brother.
Human psychology basically is something visually reactive versus something that is immediate emotion.
Uh-huh.
So, Ahlul Bayt, their iman is so strong, basically because they know Muslim as a threat, and our psychology as a human is still attached to this dunya because we do not have that level of faith or that level of clarity
Mhm.
because we have not seen it.
Right.
So how do we use them as our role model?
Okay, very good. So, one hadith from Imam Ali, right? Maybe, we can understand it that way, right? If Allah shows something to someone that will be like detrimental to his choice, So he won't show that, right? Based on our aql. The choice that we have is the fact that akhirat is hidden from us. If Allah showed it to us, it would completely destroy our freedom of choice. So, if Allah shows it to someone, would Allah make a mistake? No. So the deduction is that it does not matter if Ahlul Bayt see it or not. As Imam Ali said, that if the veils are lifted between me and Akhirat, it would not change my faith, even by an atom's bit. I have the same faith. So in other words, if Allah showed Mi'raj to Rasulullah, He showed it knowing that he is a person who can handle it. And he'll still have still have that choice in him. If he showed it to me, yes, I would lose that choice. I wouldn't be interested in anything here. In fact, there are hadiths that says that if a hair of a hurul een falls on the earth, all the men would lose all interest in all the women here. They will have no interest because it's so attractive. See, again, the idea is what? Our freedom of choice will be destroyed. Yeah, right. That's what, see, sometimes, and this is sometimes I feel like, right? A lot of people are very over muttaqi, and being over muttaqi that says, oh, what is this hurul een and this and that, We are worshipping for Allah, Yeah. Now, these are over muttaqi people, high on spiritual steroids and this and that. And the problem is that if they see one hur in this dunya, right, they're like crazy about it. Oh my God, they can't handle themselves, and they're talking about hurul een there. Take it easy, man. Come down to earth, off of your high horse, and just relax. We're all human beings here, Yeah.
I want to ask you a question which is similar to this topic, but it's a little bit tangent, so please forgive me if it is.
Okay.
You and I have discussed, and it's very important to me because I'm teaching politics to
Right.
children, and I want to clearly understand. My understanding of is still that the purpose of our life is nothing but to make Allah happy. And I made that comment to you, and you said no, it's not to make Allah happy, and I'm clarifying that.
Right.
It's to make ourselves happy, or
Right.
something along those lines.
Right.
Can you clarify that for me?
Okay, good. Again, it's the same thing, right? Let's see. Understand the character of Allah. His character, just the general idea. We all know God. Everyone knows God. Christians, Jews, Hindus, everyone. Atheists know God, right? They know God. They have a character of God. One of them. We have a better idea about it because we have Quran that states these things and so forth. Getting some water. Huh? All right, salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Ali Mawla. MashaAllah, that's good, SubhanAllah. Let's get back to it. All right, so in regards to Allah, right, His character, do you think, like in general terms, right, anyway, is Allah selfish or selfless? Good, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good. Selfless, right? Not selfish. So, do you think that Allah wants to give or take? What's more important for Allah? Giving is more important for right? Do you think that Allah wants to serve rather than be served? What's more of Allah's liking? Does He like to serve or does He like to be served? What does Allah want? What does Allah like? What's His character? See, what is Allah's character? Allah wants to serve. That's why He says, do your 30, 40-year worship here, serve me here, and I will serve you for an eternity there. There I will be your servant, serving you. Yeah. Now here, again, the purpose, what is the purpose? Purpose is not to, service of Allah comes in the way of our happiness. You see, like what Allah is saying is that the goal is your happiness. I want you to be happy. But for you to be happy, then little while you serve here. Even if it's naqis, even if it's defective, doesn't matter. I'll accept it.
So the clarifying question on that one, because this is a very complicated concept to understand at this point. But Imam Ali alayhi salam said, I don't serve Allah for the greed of Jannah, and I don't serve Allah because of the fear of Jahannam.
Right.
I worship Allah because He's the most deserving.
Deserve, yes.
So on the principle of that, then we are serving Allah because we want to make Him happy.
Okay.
Because He created us.
There are circles, right? Big circle, small circle. See, and each circle within itself has its own objective, its own reasonings, in its own self. But in relationship to the larger circle, it's completely different. So, in that little circle is my service of Allah in this dunya. So, what happens to a person who serves Allah because of greed? Good. He's doing business and all that. Is he going to Jannat or Jahannam? No, he's going to Jannat. Jannat. Yeah, he's going to heaven. How about a person who worships Allah out of fear? Is that good or bad? It's good. Imam Ali is not saying it's bad. He's saying his standard. You see, Imam Ali's standard is different. He's saying you are in this standard, it doesn't mean you're bad people. Allah asks you to fear Him. So we fear, different level of understanding. So within that circle, within that little circle, Imam Ali is giving an idea of worship. We are saying, what's the ultimate purpose of this service? The ultimate purpose, Allah is saying, that is to make you happy, to put you in Jannah so that you can reach your happiness. That's the reason why you're doing this. Otherwise, why would I ask you from this? What, am I a slave driver? I don't want to watch you. Your happiness is tied to this. That's the reason.
So then, so your happiness is tied to Jannah, and your happiness is tied to the sort of greed per se, for the lack of right word, because you are doing.
It's fine. Good. Yes. In other words, look at Allah this way. I want you to understand who Allah is first. That will make it so much easier. Really, Allah is someone who wants to give us. He's a giver, not a taker. He's generous, not someone who wants something from you. If He's asking you for something, it's only that it is giving it back to you in more and more. Right? That's the reason Allah, no one can do anything for Allah that Allah owes them for it. No one can do anything where now Allah owes you, He's indebted to you. I mean, He's not even indebted to Imam Hussein, or anyone. You know, even Imam Hussein knows that. Even Ahlul Bayt know that. They're like, Allah, please accept this from us. You know, humbly, please accept this from us. You know, they know that it's Allah who's giving everything. So the idea is that Allah is never indebted to anyone. That's why He's biniyaz of everyone. But His character is that He wants to make you be successful. He wants to make you. That's why Allah is not looking for an excuse to send people to hell. But He is looking for an excuse to send people to heaven. That's Allah. He's looking, just give me an excuse so I can send you to heaven. Make you happy. That's why Imam Ali, when you read Dua Kumail, you'll see it, that Imam Ali says, you know, if it wasn't for these really wretched people, terrible people, horrible, you would never have created Jahannam. You wouldn't have created Jahannam if it wasn't for these, you know, like really bad people. Otherwise, you are just looking for an excuse to send people to Jannah. That is your character. That's Allah's character, you know. He wants to help us. He wants to make us successful. So everything He's doing is like that. That's why when you feel His love, you just like melt. Allah, you know, you're making it that easy, and people will be shocked on the Day of Judgment as to Allah's, you know, how He's going to judge people. That's it. You know, I mean, yes, the reason the Quran and Hadith and all revelation make it look so daunting is because that's for our own good. If I get to know right now it's easy, then you know what? With all these things that I have, I'm a bad person. Imagine if I'm let go. It'll be a slope altogether. It'll be going downwards, maybe. You know? That's where we're headed towards. The idea is that Allah is like, wow. He's going to wow everyone. That's what it says in Hadith. Yes, brother. Right. Yeah, you're right. The second part of the question, like Allah says in the Quran, right? That He speaks about certain people and they will be raised. They will ask Allah, Allah, give us one more chance to go back. You give us one mulligan, you know? Go back there and you know what? We'll change everything around. And Allah says, even if you go back there, you will do the same thing. Yes, same thing. You'll still do the same thing, you know? So obviously that's different. We have Laylatul Qadr, right? And this is a blessing for us. Laylatul Qadr is like Mahshar. You know, Allah brings us to Mahshar in front of Him, and then we ask Allah, Allah, let me go back and do it again. So Allah says, all right, I'll let you go back and do it again. Every time we come out of Laylatul Qadr, we are coming out clear so that we can do it again. That is a beautiful thing that we have. And we should use that to know that, wow, Allah, you're giving me chance over chance over chance so I can change. Inshallah, more about this we'll discuss in Ramadan about Laylatul Qadr. It's a very complicated topic about Laylatul Qadr. Yeah, in fact it is, you know, and I want to make it lighter. Yes, you know, I want to make it a little bit lighter, you know, but the idea is that, you know, because these dry parts that are the nitty-gritty are the ones that build our reasoning. It builds the structure of our thinking. You know, this is what helps us to think better. You know, because, you know, now you know that, okay, you know what, choice. What is choice? Allah made this dunya as a choice, and the choice I have is akhirat and this dunya. That's the real choice, because that is my existence. I'm choosing about my existence, so it is important for me. And the fact that Allah kept that hidden so that I could have a choice. Otherwise, if I seen that, you know, I wouldn't have a choice. I wouldn't want to live here. So simple as that. That is the beauty of it that we have, and we learn it. So we human beings have choice, and we are in a structure that gives us choice. Second thing to understand, and we'll go forward from here next week. Yes, sir. He- mm, yeah, yeah, because see, there's no akhirat for angels. There's no hereafter for angels, right? Angels, they don't have the choice, right? They don't have the choice. They go along with what they're told, right? Animals go along with their instincts, right? They go along with their instincts. They have no choice to go against their instincts. We have instincts and nafs and desires, and we have the ability to go against it, right? So this is all playing into this infrastructure that we're living in. And hence, it's exciting, man. Life is exciting, you know? And I'm going to start about life, After 1, 2 weeks of this, I'm going to stop because, here it gets too, like, really complicated. But I don't want to go into that complication, just want to give us a picture. Then we'll go into life. And life is a more, you know, exciting topic, you know.
But does it apply to jinn? Because they have a choice and reason, right?
Yeah, yeah, they have.
So jinn have
Yes, jinn have that. It's just that they're not in our world, meaning our.
Can you come here for 1 second? Just 1 second.
He's asking the jinn to.
I have to go speak up too much. There is a ayat number 3372. Ask Maulana about that later. 3372. Oh, okay.
Oh, in the ard al samawati al samawati wal ardi wal jibal.
We are created by our own choice, not by.
I mean, we came to earth with our own choice. Yeah, we came to earth with our own choice. Yes, 33 Ahzab, Surah Ahzab, ayat number 72. The ayat, is about Allah saying about, why we have a choice, The choice is something that we chose. We chose Allah, that Allah, we want to have the choice. And Allah knew it was very difficult, but He did it, So that's the ayat. You can go and read it, inshallah. Go ahead, go ahead. No problem. We'll see you, inshallah. Right, right, right. The Ahlul Bayt are the challenge. Ahlul Bayt are a challenge for us to know. One, they help us not to get arrogant, for no reason, because we tend to do that, I mean, you'll see it in Hajj, what I'm talking about, The Hajis who come there, so arrogant. They are just like ready to fight anyone and just hurt anyone, right? You'll see that when you get there. The why? Because they don't have Ahlul Bayt. They don't have Ahlul Bayt in them. Hajis, I'm talking about Hajis who are like just out of Hajj, ready to fight. They'll be cursing people, anything, and the most oft-repeated sentence you hear in English there, do you know who I am, Mostly in Hajj. Yeah, now that they're pure, right? We have done Hajj, we're clean now, so hey, and I spend so much money, so it better work. I spend this much money. So there's a lot of arrogance in Hajj, a lot of arrogance, you know. So what happens is that when you look at that, you see why Ahlul Bayt are important. Number one, because they make us humble, you know, really, you know, we haven't done anything. You know, what they have done and the worship they have done and perfection, you know. I mean, they're immaculate in terms of Allah's obedience, service, and things like that. Yeah, and so for us, you know, we look at them and we feel like humbled. The one thing. Second thing, they challenge us. Their practice challenges us that there's room to grow.
One very, 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 very old question.
Yeah.
Knowing what the Ahlul-Bayt know, why our Prophet married someone from the
No, that's different, you know. You see, I'll tell you why. Rasulullah answered that.
reason for this question is because of the future complications
Right.
his family.
Rasulullah answered that, right? You know, why he married certain people, you know. Man came to him and said that, you know, you pray for me, for this wife. I'm looking for this girl to get married to, you know. And Rasulullah, his reply to that was, if I and Mikael and Jibrail and the angels that hold up the throne of Allah, if we all pray in Jama'at for you to get a wife, you will not get her. You will only marry someone that Allah has decreed for you. That's it. It is not your choice. Marriage is not a choice you make. Marriage is something Allah has decreed. So whoever ends up as your wife is from Allah. Right? And He gives you for whatever test you have to go through. For whatever reason you have to go through this, He gives you that.
So there's a authentic belief.
Yeah. So the idea is very simple, it's logical, you know. It's logical that yes, Allah gives that because wife is a part of your testing. Husband is a part of her testing.
So it's vice versa also.
Vice versa, of course. She's your test, you're her test. Challenging you to become better in either ways that are conforming or that are adversary. Meaning that sometimes, you know, you're opposite each other and that's what makes you better. Sometimes you are like conforming and that's what makes you better. But Allah decides that. It's bad that we think that the best wife is someone who's obedient. No, that's not the best wife. Because that, maybe if you have an obedient wife, you will suffer. You will become lazy and arrogant. Maybe you need,
Four wives, that's also decreed upon you from Allah.
huh? Yeah. That I don't know about all four, but you know, you know, just the one wife that you have, you have to just worry about that. You know, worry about that and see where that goes to. The second wife you get always, you know, you get to build on your home, not to break your home. It's always there to build on your home. If you're saying your house is breaking, then you don't. Then you don't. You know? But it can be anywhere. But it's not our choice in the first place, right? Whatever happens, you'll see it's Allah who gives the risk. It comes and you will see that it happens. You had no control over the matter. You see it happens like that. But right now, I mean, the idea is that, so if Rasulullah didn't have these wives, you know, really, how would we know how to deal with such wives? If he's the role model, right? And this is the most important aspect of our life. Our life with our spouse. Because no one has more of an intimate relationship than these two. Neither the children, neither brothers or sisters, anyone. The closest relationship you will have is your spouse. And that is where actual growth takes place. Because both of these are able to get under the skin of the other more than anyone else. And that's where you see growth happening, development happening. Allah wanted this. I mean, in so many ways. In intimacy, intimacy is where spiritual growth takes place. Spiritual growth doesn't take place in namaz and roza. You grow more towards Allah in intimacy with your spouse than you do with namaz and fasting and hajj and any of these things. Just in that way. So many things are kept. That's why Allah, He put spiritual growth within ourselves. These are obligations He gives so that we keep up our worship and service. But the spiritual growth is within us. Within us, we all have it, we all have access to it. There's nothing outside of us that we have to go to Najaf to get it, That would be zulm. All right, that's it, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, everyone. Till next. Oh, anytime.